Hey, so a little while ago I read chapter 15 from my book Faith, Mindfulness, and Nutrition, and I thought I would read chapter 16 today. But before I read chapter 16, I wanted to kind of read just the end of chapter 15 because I feel like it segues well into chapter 16. And chapter 15 talked about the experiences we had when my son had HSP and how I fussed at God, but then God never abandoned me, and there's kind of like a really cool goosebump story there. So I'm going to kind of start there. So this is the end of chapter 15. When my son was first diagnosed with HSP, I tried to pray the right things to make God love me, listen to me, and help me. Turns out, even when I said the wrong things, I couldn't make God stop loving me, listening to me, or helping me. Whew, what a relief. Because although I will continue to try to do what God wants, I know I will continue to fail over and over. I'll be selfish sometimes. I will lack trust sometimes. And I will be quick to anger sometimes. And sometimes I won't praise God in the storm. But God is constant. My son did go into remission and has been in remission for over 2 years now. Many times HSP never comes back. Our bronchiectasis and HSP experiences taught me that God loved me and was with me no matter what. But I also learned a little bit more as well. After these experiences, I started truly understanding what I thought I already knew. Health is about much more than weight. Now I knew what it was like to have a loved one living with an ongoing chronic condition. And if there was any way I could reduce the risk of my loved ones or me developing any chronic conditions, I wanted to do it. Since all of this started with the common cold virus, I also knew that I wanted to do whatever I could to support my family's immune system. Okay, so that's chapter 15. Let's go to chapter 16. Seeing my son suffer was not good for my health. I went through a season of sadness and became ill often. Soon after my son got better, I became extremely sad again about my kids getting older. I felt like the 3 years that my son was sick were just gone. For 2 weeks I cried every day. At about the same time, I developed so much mucus that I couldn't do anything but lie in my bed and throw up. This was something I used to go through every fall and spring, but this time was much worse. It would last 2 weeks, go away, and then come back again. It was hard for me to function. By now, I was mindfully eating and trying to figure this blogging thing out. I had made peace with food and enjoyed eating. But my new problem was finding the time to get a healthy meal on the table. I continued to struggle to find the time to cook meals during the newborn years and then through the kids' activities years, which we're still going through now. Because we were so busy, we were often grabbing fast food and ultra-processed foods on a weekly basis. This is when my mindful eating thoughts evolved. With mindful eating, no food's off limits. You have food freedom, which is wonderful. But what happens when I'm mindfully eating fast food and ultra-processed food on a regular basis? My mind and body start to protest. Here I was a dietitian, and I was a wreck. Perhaps I was taking this everything in moderation, and you can eat whatever you want, too far. I still agree with this statement, but moderation and mindful eating means something different to me now. I started realizing that mindful eating, just like mindful living, is about listening and pausing before making choices. Pausing before acting helps me act with kindness. And pausing before choosing foods, and even pausing after eating foods, helps me listen and choose foods that are kind to my mind, body, and soul. Mindfulness is about learning too. Mindfulness is about taking the time to learn, and for me, learn about what science says about food. The next part is noticing how your body reacts when you apply that science to your eating. So mindfulness is about taking the time to slow down and enjoy your life and your food, but also about taking the time to slow down to make mindful choices based on what we know. Based on what I knew as a dietitian, I started to wonder. Perhaps my mood and mucus issues were related and being caused by something I was eating. I knew a growing body of evidence indicates that certain foods could affect your mood, inflammation, immunity, mucus, and even allergies. So I decided to be more intentional about what I was eating. A list of nutrients. So I did what I love to do. I began to organize the information. I decided to write a list of foods that might help my symptoms. But then I thought, I want more. I want to include the nutrients and foods that support the immune system, help with mood, and reduce the risk of Alzheimer's and dementia and cancer. I want to include foods that decrease the risk of developing chronic, neurodegenerative, and autoimmune diseases as well. In other words, I wanted a complete list. But I didn't want to stop there. Knowing what foods you should eat is one thing, but figuring out how to easily incorporate them into our lives each week is a whole other thing. After all, the main reason my family was eating so poorly was because I couldn't find the time to meal plan and cook and still get my kids to all their activities. I developed 2 different strategies that really worked for my family. And now that I have become intentional about what my family is eating, we have never felt healthier or happier. I still don't think I can fully ever explain the impact these changes made in my life. Sometimes I even worry no one's ever going to believe me because I'm going to sound like some kind of infomercial. Still, I know because I love you, my brothers and sisters, and want these things for you too. I've got to try, so here goes. So how did this all transform our lives? First and foremost, my mood improved within a week, and my mucus drainage went away about as quickly. And guess what? I have been getting this mucus drainage and cough every fall and spring like clockwork since I was a child. During the fall and spring, after incorporating this eating strategy, I didn't get the mucus drainage or cough for the first time ever. But other things changed too. It still makes me shake my head in amazement to think of all the ways being intentional about what I ate changed my life. And here they are in bullet points. I have more free time now that getting meals on the table is so easy. My family is eating healthier than ever. I have less daily stress and feel like I deal with stress much better now that I make sure I incorporate calming, anti-anxiety foods into my meals. My acne cleared up. I've had acne since middle school. My son's anxiety and even behavior seem to improve. Our family has more energy and my body can do things it has not been able to do since my 20s. I'm now almost 40. And remember, my mood improved and my mucus drainage and allergies are almost non-existent. Now, how does all this happen and I not tell people? I mean, what if this way of living and eating can have a similar impact on others? So I decided to write it all down. Specifically, I decided to write a book or 2. First, I wrote Mindfulness and Faith and Freezer Meals. In this first book, I showed busy families how to make a month of meals in one day. Meanwhile, I continued compiling more and more research for my next book. By the following year, I had created my second book, The Nourishing Meal Builder. This book provided readers with a list of foods and their specific benefits. For example, did you know that according to research, L-theanine and EGCG found in green tea may have anti-anxiety effects similar to anti-anxiety medications and may help relax the brain without making you feel drowsy? In one study, individuals who drank 4 cups or more per day had a 51% lower prevalence of depression compared to those who drank 1 cup or less per day. Research on apples provide another interesting example of how a specific food has specific benefits. In research studies, citrus fruits and apples have been shown to have a positive effect on asthma symptoms in people with asthma. All this research on individual foods is fascinating, but the biggest impact comes not from one particular food, but from eating a variety of these foods that have been shown to reduce the risk of disease, improve mood, promote cognitive function, and support the immune system. That is why I wanted to provide a food list and the research all in one place, the Nourishing Meal Builder. In the Nourishing Meal Builder, I also showed readers how to easily combine these foods on the spot to create your own healthy meals every day. Mindfulness and Faith in Food evolved. Now our company has two clear missions. One, to help others live their healthiest, happiest, most purposeful life through faith-based mindfulness and evidence-based nutrition. And two, to provide easy, stress-free, and convenient ways for families to eat nourishing meals. With these missions in mind, my husband and I decided to add Mindful Vending to our Mindfulness and Faith in Food company. Mindful Vending is a dietitian-owned and operated vending company that focuses on providing convenient, nourishing foods to others through healthy vending machines. We are particularly passionate about providing healthy snack options to children at schools because we have seen firsthand what a positive impact nourishing foods can have on our own children's lives. Studies show that nourishing foods can improve focus, attention, anxiety, and even behavior, all of which are crucial for a positive learning environment. Some of you may be saying, okay, Lacey, you're going over the top again, but seriously, the research on how much nutrition can impact our children is eye-opening. Again, you can read more in the Nourishing Meal Builder. So where are we now? My children are doing great. My daughter is busy with dance and dance competitions, and my son is loving life on a travel soccer team. As for me, I'm still learning and growing every day. I'm still trying to live a life that glorifies God, supports others, and have a little fun in the process. I'm still messing up regularly, but faith-based mindfulness and nutrition has certainly helped me more than anything else I have found. Now I'm in the best shape of my life, enjoying my food and fueling my brain and body so that I can have as much strength as possible to serve God and others. How amazingly freeing is that? I get to eat without feeling deprived. I get to eat delicious foods I love. I get to feed my mind, body, and soul healing, nutrient-dense foods. And I feel so good in my body. But most importantly, by incorporating mindfulness into not only my eating, but my living, I'm able to notice God in the world around me a little more often. I'm finally beginning to understand in my heart what I knew in my head. Health is about more than weight. Health is about feeding our mind, body, and soul. This is my story of how I went from being weight obsessed to a healthy, happy dietitian with the help of faith-based mindfulness and nutrition. But how can faith-based mindfulness and nutrition help you? Let's look at the benefits while keeping our company's two missions in mind. And that leads us into chapter 17, which you can find in Faith, Mindfulness, and Nutrition. And right now, we're doing a promotion where you can get this book for free on my website, mindfulnessandfaithinfood.com.